again by Benning. Darnell Nurse left it in the corner, gets up center. Perry scores! Corey Perry!
Lilia able to shake away from Solani. It's given away to Solani around in front. Score! Teemu Solani with the steal.
Perry in the face, 1-1. Score! Off the floor! On the board! Paul Kariya!
And we're back. We're live, and I think I did it, dude. I think we're good. I think we've got a win and on both sides of the equation here. I got the podcast up and running on my own, and the Ducks take a 5-2 win over the Buffalo Sabres tonight, man. Good to have you on.
Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, it's been a crazy October. It's just the start of the whole season, but I should hopefully be on a little bit more consistently, or at least be available to be on. So good to be on.
Yeah, man. I thought I was going to have to run this show, this solo tonight, so I'm like, oh, dude, this is going to be an interesting show for me. I got like open windows here with nobody on them. I got to talk to people in the chat. It was going to be fun, but I was like, oh boy.
Hey, you'd be a crazy person just talking to yourself about a game you watch.
Oh man, it sounds like me when my family's in the living room watching the game, and everyone thinks I'm crazy anyway. So first off, shout out to PK, number 9. It's his birthday today.
Yeah.
So had to rock the old school eggplant jersey for Paul Kariya. And as you know, and everyone else who listens to us long enough knows that he's my favorite player. So I gotta give him big ups on that for sure. Happy birthday, Paul! I know that you haven't talked to me in a while, but hopefully someday we'll get reconnected.
I know he's listening. That's what counts. He hears.
Yeah,
you.
I haven't talked to him in quite some time, and no
Ages,
Coach Bombay. It's not PK Subban. Jesus.
But
dude,
yeah, you got to clarify for that guy.
The news on hand tonight. What the hell did we see in the final 40 minutes of the game tonight, man? How was that?
That was fun. That was if they could do that for 60 minutes, this is a great team. But it kind of seems like that's kind of their MO, at least early on here. It's kind of slow out of the gates. But this season compared to last season, I mean, last season was slow out of the gate, slow in the second, and slow in the last period, and usually just horrifically outshot and outplayed. At least we have some good periods. It's just hopefully we have it a little bit more than 50% or 2/3 of the game too. So
yeah, and you forgot a piece of that from last season too. It was a lot of old guys with bald heads with really, really red faces behind the bench. That's usually what was going on at the end of last year for sure.
Yeah, barking at people.
Were you a little bit worried tonight going into this game? Just kind of get your pregame moment. Like your thoughts on that? Were you kind of like, man, the Sabres power play is pretty killer. They've been playing good hockey. Were you a little nervous going into it?
Well, I mean, for sure, the penalty kill for the Ducks has been pretty good. But they went 2-2 on the road. They got shellacked, I guess you could say. It was really only by Pasta in that Boston game. He's the other one who seemed to score. But their penalty kill kind of looked like it had chinks in the armor. And then when you got a team that's clicking at almost 50% coming in with, an elite goal scorer and Olafs in there, there's some cause for concern. They're outplaying and they have a lot of confidence going in. And the Ducks, started off pretty good, but, looked a little shaky. And you're kind of wondering how they're going to respond after a road trip, if they're not going to be all that great coming, in their first home game for the homestand.
I mean,
so a little nervous, but not over the top.
Undefeated at home this season, dude. I don't know. I just, I'm sure you were thinking that in the back of your mind too.
The first thing I was thinking, I was like, we got to score goals because we're not scoring goals, and if Gibby or Miller are only giving up 1 or 2 goals, we got to at least get 3, hopefully somewhere in there. And we haven't been able to do that until tonight. So,
well, we got plenty to talk about here, lots to unpack. First with the lineup, why is Devin Shore still scratched? I wanted to ask if you had any thoughts on that. Like, I get that they kind of held everything else together there, but Devin Shore was really good when he's been playing early on the season, and to scratch him and not have him, centering even the fourth line instead of Derek Grant was kind of curious to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think every player, especially when they're filling in those depth roles, that third or fourth line guy, a lot of interchangeable parts at this point. And coming off of a 4-1 loss where they did not look good defensively, they had a good second period, but I mean, just a lot of lapses, and they're trying to find goals. And right now, it's just, hey, this isn't quite working. These are the pieces we're going to move because we're not taking top guys off. They're going to get their time. They're going to get their play. So let's try and move things around, see what we can kind of plug in. So you could scratch Shore, you could put him in, you could put Grant out, you could put Comtois out. I mean, there's a lot of different options at that point. Right now, I think they were desperate to try and find some sort of combination for goals because they're hard to come by for the Ducks. So I don't see a problem.
Well, if anyone's going to sit, if next game and Short comes in, it might be Nick Ritchie after his crazy game tonight for his ridiculous penalties he decided to take, which we'll get to. We'll definitely get to.
Yeah, are they that crazy, or are they kind of on par?
I mean, I didn't even understand it, but we can unpack that when we get to it. Unfortunately, Brendan Gooley's still. Is it day to day? Is it week? I don't know what it is. I didn't see what the official word was on him. If someone in chat wants to bring that up, please let me know. But I was a little nervous going against this team, especially on the power play. They have clicking at 42%. Olafson's killing it. Of course, he gets another one tonight. I mean, why wouldn't he? Because he's been scoring all his goals in the power play. And then
literally all of his career goals have been power play goals.
And then Lindholm Manson hasn't been really, honestly, I hate to say, haven't been good this season so far, 7 games in. Yeah. And then you have Del Zotto and Holzer in the lineup. And I was like, ugh, Jesus.
At least they weren't on the same line.
Yeah, that would have been the Randy Carlyle move to get the two guys who are the least skilled on this team on the same line together. But Gibby's a net. He had to make some outstanding saves tonight. And he honestly held the boys in it when he needed to. But that first period, man, I was very worried about this team out the gate, and I guess we've kind of been saying that since the start of the season. You kind of got to it a little bit earlier. It's the first period is just kind of like, oh, we're playing. Oh, we're really playing. This team's going to play fast. Yeah. Oh, okay. We'll eventually get there, I think. Let's just hold on tight.
Yeah. It's a dangerous way to play because you can get buried early. About the only good thing, I guess, is that they've done it so much, and they know that even if they kind of give up those chances, generally it gets Gibby or Miller in the game, and they are there as a great 1-2 goalie combination. They can kind of hold that fort until they can kind of figure out what it's going to take for them to kind of match it. And it usually ends up coming after the first period, but there's shot totals at the end. I think it was like 18-11 or something like that for Buffalo. I mean, at one point it was like 18-6 or 18-5. I mean, Buffalo was running with it for a while. It was that was. I was looking at that and, well, geez, that's bad. and we're so conditioned from last year to go like, well, this one's over. I'm just gonna pack it in, and who cares anymore. But it's a different team. I mean, they don't really give up, so that's a good thing. But yeah, they'd be helping themselves out a great deal, and the goalie's a great deal if they could have that start the same way they have the finish, it seems like.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And in this first period, kind of what we saw from Manson and Lindholm, and we've been talking about it every post game, is they got cut out of position a number of times, especially in the first period. Manson seems to be getting burned more and more than we've seen in recent seasons, and Lindholm is not making those great outlet passes that he's been known for as well. And it's easy to pick apart a guy's game when you see him make a glaring error and not see maybe the other 70-80% of the things he did right that night. But coming from these two guys who we really rely upon to play those heavy minutes against the team's big hitters, it was kind of concerning. I mean, Reinhardt snuck behind Manson in that first period too. I was like, how did he even get behind you, dude? Like, how did that even happen? Where are you looking? And you saw Manson look behind him, I think, 3 or 4 times tonight with a guy going by him. Just a little concerning overall, not just even in this game.
Yeah, Manson's game's been a little bit off. He seems aggressive, which is something I do like out of his game because we don't have very many aggressive physical defensemen. So I like that, but at the same time, it's kind of coming at the cost of plays. Like he's given up plays. He's letting people behind him. Eichel ends up getting a goal where he kind of turns it over at the offensive blue line and can't really ever seem to kind of catch up to it. We give credit to Eichel. He did a good job of putting his leg out to prevent Manson. He tried twice to get around him, and I think Gibby maybe wanted to play that goal a little bit differently, probably move with Eichel, and he kind of got stuck on his knees and didn't quite get over on that play. But backed up to Manson and Lindholm, that Boston game, Lindholm got beat to the front of the net. Pasta tap in. I mean, that's like fundamental. He was in position, and Pasta just got in front of him, just sat there and just deflected in. I think that was his fourth goal or something. It's just kind of that thing where you're like, that should be second nature.
Dude,
like
we didn't do a post-game show, and I hope I never had to talk about those goals. Those were brutal by my boy Lindy there. But let's get to the goal you're just talking about, though. Manson kind of getting picked at the offensive blue line. Puck gets blocked on a shot where he goes to keep it in. The wrong guy, one of like three guys on the ice you don't want to turn the puck over to on Buffalo, happens to get it. And I even tweeted it out a little bit. Eichel's world-class, Crosby's world-class, but Manson kind of getting walked around and picked around like he has been is a little concerning. But like you said, too, I didn't want to give you any inch in getting mad at me about the goaltending there. But I was a little like, why did Gibby kind of fall in on his net like that? He kind of slid back in the middle of the crease rather than being at the top and going side to side, or even maybe going for the little ballsy of a poke check. A la Ryan Miller against Columbus and Seth Jones. Maybe something like that might have stopped the puck. But at that point, it gave Buffalo the 1-0 lead.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to pick apart what a professional goalie, one of the top goalies in the world, are doing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he could have read it as, hey, Eichel could probably roof it on that backhand. It looks like he might turn the corner, but he might try to open me up. And so, good players can hide their shots really well, and they can be deceptive. And so he kind of got walked around. Maybe, obviously, I would assume he'd want that one back and how he played it. But, at the same time, and this is kind of something that we'll probably see a little bit more. I mean, the Ducks defense has been given the green light to try and attack more, keep pucks in the offensive zone, and there's going to be a risk, and that risk sometimes is going to be a turnover. And unfortunately for the Lindholm or the Mansons, they're not exactly the quickest of feet, and they're not quite the most gifted of offensive side of things either. So you'll probably see a little bit more from them, and especially if they've got to play against the top lines. But the good news is they kind of cleaned their game up a little bit after the first period, and Eichel didn't really get much of a sniff after having a really good first period.
No, man, I would agree with you on that for sure. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the Ducks' power play, especially in this first period. It got better as the game went on. But before we get to that, we have a couple of goals and one non-goal to get to before we wrap up the first. Ducks just get clobbered on again. Henry goes and takes a penalty for holding the stick, and the broadcast is like, oh boy, here we go, because this is not going to be good. You do not want to give these guys any sort of room on the power play, and of course they did here. And this is after the Ducks had their chance and were denied. But Olofsson, of course, just Reinhart able to pick a puck out of Holzer's skates. Holzer on the penalty kill's tough. And is able to just zip that pass across. Not a chance in hell for John Gibson to even get over. He even got over, but couldn't make the save. I mean, he was damn close. But all of a sudden now it's 2-0.
Yeah, that one kind of felt like a broken play a little bit. And, it's just like when things are going right for you, like they are for Olofsson on the power play, you tend to be in the right spot and it just goes right because he got fed a nice puck. He didn't hesitate. He just knew what to do, shot it. Gibby almost got over, but just not quite enough. So it's like all the little things that the Ducks almost got are just going right for this guy throughout the season so far. So he gets his 8th career goal, all on the power play, and this is where it kind of started to look a little down in the dumps. I think that at that point that was their 18th or 17th shot, and the Ducks are down 2-0. Don't look good. They only mustered up 5 shots to that point. So it was kind of like, oh boy, this is not a good look for a team that's hot and riding high in confidence. So,
and then what we thought was going to be the goal that gets him back in the game. Max Jones.
I was so jealous.
Finally breaks through. Finally breaks through on a rebound chance. Larson throws the puck in the net. It goes off the goaltender. Comes back out. I believe it was Larson who threw the puck on net. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Jones is able to slam home the rebound there. I was like, of course, finally the kids. Like I've been thinking about it the past week. And I've heard a lot of people talk about the kids, like, oh, they're underperforming. Who do you send down? Who do you bring up? And I'm like, you really can't bring anyone up if you send the kids down. The kids are here. I mean, you're not going to replace them with anyone better. They're eventually going to break through. We're 7 games in. But Jones, I was like, oh, it felt so good for the kid. And then you go back and look at the stupid-ass replay, and then it's him that it causes the offside on his own goal. And as much as I hate that rule, honestly, the linesman should have had that. He was right there and didn't call it.
Yeah, that was kind of an odd one that it wasn't called, because the first time they did a replay before they even like broke it down, like, well, where is he on that one? The second they did the replay, oh, he's easily
Easily.
offside. So they're like, yeah, I was like, ah, damn, that one's coming back. And then sure enough, then they go, oh, I think they're challenging here, and it's like, yeah, they weren't going to get away with that one. So once they challenged it, it was pretty obvious. Yeah, he tried, he did everything he could to stay on there, and it's not like he really impacted the initial play. He just happened to be now slower behind the play, but can't do it. Offsides. It is what
Nope.
it is. That could have been a killer for the
It
Ducks,
felt
too.
like it to me. I was so pissed. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
of course it was. Of course it was. As much as I hate that rule, that was the linesman should have had it. It should have never gone to review. And then the Ducks would get on the board, and it actually counted this time. Adam Henrique, Uncle Rico Potts won. He's quietly having a decent. Oh my God! It feels like we've been doing this season already for like 30 games. We're 7 games in. Decent start to the season. I think that was his 3rd goal of the year. Correct me if I'm wrong, because he gets a 4th one later. Sylvie with a good rush into the zone, cut back, made a great pass. Manson gets over to the loose puck, throws it on net, kind of a roller. And Henrique, with the little deft little hands on the side of the net, is able to tip it. And Olmark was there, but yeah, man, just some puck luck there on that goal for sure. But also it's 2-1.
Yeah, a lot like kind of Olafson's goal. It was just, everything just kind of went right on that particular play. Manson just was able to throw it. The fact that the puck was knuckling and rolling over itself played a huge role in how that got deflected, because it looked initially like maybe he had his like stick kind of over and like somehow like picked it up, but he had it flat facing and he just hit it just right. And because it was kind of wobbling, it just went up. It just hit it at such an angle that it just jumped up. And Allmark was pretty much there, and it just went up and over the glove, inside the post. There's nothing he could do. He couldn't even really see it. It just got put in the right spot with very little room to make it a goal. So everything went right on that particular play. So, we could have been disheartened and gone, wow, that was a horrible first, and we got nothing to show for it. But we got a little luck on it, and going into the intermission really kind of helped out, I think.
Yeah, to go into the first intermission only down by 1 goal seemed like a win overall for me after the first 20 minutes. Ducks trail by 1 going into the second period. Let's talk about the second period. Ducks got on the board early, and it was a period that was, just one of the most fun periods I've watched this. I don't want to say this season, dude. I want to say in quite some time from Anaheim. Like, confident plays. They weren't these. I don't feel like it was all luck. Like, I felt when these happened towards the end of last season and even in the middle of last season when the Ducks could eke out a win, it was like, wow, they should have never even had that goal there. Should have never been in that position. But, it was fast hockey all around, and it was that pace we've been talking about. And the Ducks got 2 goals in this period, or 3, but 2 came at the beginning. 1 came in the end, and 1 came in the beginning. But within the first minute, at the end, and at the end of the second period. And the first one was Rickard Rakell. Ristolainen tried to dump it behind his own net, but Silverberg, with that sweet little hand-eye coordination, knocked the puck down, caught Rakell driving to the net, and, dude, just a beautiful play as he beat McCabe to the front of the net and buried it and made it 2-2. What an exciting start to the second period.
Yeah, for sure. And to get that and really kind of just reestablish it, hey, that first period was a wash. And then the way they kind of came out and, going back to the shot totals where it was 18-6, very rapidly the Ducks kind of came back and really got that a lot closer. And getting that goal, it was good. He got inside position on McCabe and didn't allow McCabe to reach in and poke it away. Allmark tries to do a little poke check, just barely misses it. And Rakell's able to kind of walk around him, and a lot like the Eichel play, just kind of outweight the goalie and get around to him. So it was good to see Rakell score. It was good to see the way it happened and how well the Ducks were flying early on.
So we talked about a little bit about the kids, and I know that a lot of that means like Steele, Terry, and Jones. But how did you feel about Maxime Comtois' game? Because I felt like he had a really strong game tonight. And I'm not just talking about the pass. He was noticeably physical, noticeably into plays when he was on the ice.
Yeah, he seemed very engaged in this game. I saw him talking a lot with Getzlaf. He gets to play on the top line with Getzlaf and Kasha. So when you're with those guys, you can kind of help out. But he was tenacious, one of those guys, a lot like Kasha, where, he didn't really shy away. If the puck was somewhere to where he could get to it, he was involving himself into the game. So when he's doing that and he's mouthing, he's making little hits, he's playing a big game even for a 19-year-old. He's not shying away from everything. That's always fun to watch, and it's especially something that's fun to see, alongside a Getzlaf. So we don't get too many power forwards. I think Max Jones is going into that role. Comtois can do that now. And then you got Richie, of course, and then every now and again, Getzlaf wants to kind of get his nose in there. He knows how to do it. So, but it was fun to watch him play. He had a noticeably good game today.
No, for sure. And I mean, we got into some physicalities at the I don't know, at the end of the game. I think in the third period for sure. But we got to talk about the Ducks power play now, because we're at that point where we can talk about something positive with it. It didn't look that great in the first period when we saw it, and then in the second period, Eric Stevens tweeted. I think he said something. I don't want to make a joke about going to the fridge right now, because the Ducks are going on the power play, and then they literally put something together here and were able to convert, and it came off of just beautiful passing between Sam Steele and Ryan Getzlaf, and they come close off and on. The Ducks power play just wasn't able to convert, but this is like the first one where it seemed legit, where they were able to get some good passing, and we got to see a new look for Ryan Getzlaf to play lower on the ice. I mean, usually he's the quarterback up top. Now you put him down low, where he's got his whole field of vision to set guys up for one-timers. And it was just a pretty play. He gave Steele a pass. Steele couldn't convert. Steele gave it back to him, and then all of a sudden he gets the clapper on net, and it's a 3-2 game, man. It was really pretty.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things that we've been seeing, where it's like, they show signs that they got it down, and then it's like they almost score, and usually it's a goalie pulling a save out of his ass, and it was kind of that play where Getzlaf threw it down over to Steele, and Steele blasted it, and it was a hell of a save by Allmark getting his leg over there. And I'm like, of course, like the best play that we have, that play doesn't go in. But they didn't give up on it, and even Getzlaf and Steele switched sides, and then Getzlaf, holds, makes a great strike pass, and I'm like, yes, shoot, and he doesn't. He kind of holds it and then passes back. I'm like, no, what are you doing? But somehow they're able to pass it literally through the exact same lane, and then Getzlaf doesn't waste any time. He does a one-timer, which he's been practicing, and Allmark almost got that too. It actually hits his blocker, but goes blocker and inside the net. So the fact that there was, if you think about it, the one-timers are so critical now with how good goalies have to be able to move side to side. If he holds on to it for a little bit, or he does his patent, I got it, now I'm going to try and wrist it somewhere.
Yep.
That doesn't go in. It's the fact that he just released it the second he got it, and even that was almost didn't go in. So it was good to see them finally kind of get that payoff, especially with that nice passing play back and forth.
Yeah, Omar's a big boy. He's like Gibby size. He's 6'4". He's a big dude. And that, like you said, it all had to do with the release of Ryan Getzlaf there. And you'd mentioned they've been practicing, and the broadcast talked a bit about it, saying Eakins had to go pull Getzlaf off the ice in practice from doing too many one-timers.
Do you believe
No,
that?
I don't believe a word of that. And then they started talking about, like, Raquel said
Raquel's
his wrists were
arms.
tired from feeding him one-timers in practice. It's like, get out of here with this, man. Like,
Okay.
oh, sure. Yeah, I had to go drag him off the ice. Had to go get
Come
him.
on, Getsy. You're hurting rats.
What are you doing here, dude?
We got a game.
Yeah, and then were you kind of caught off guard here? There's a play a little bit later. I mean, Ducks penalty kill actually came through a lot in this game after they gave up that power play goal. That was a big reason why they were able to stand tall along with John Gibson. But were you not surprised when Raquel collided with Darlene along by the penalty boxes? That I thought Raquel was going to the box, ended up calling Darlene for covering the puck with his hand. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah, it was a weird penalty because I saw it and like everyone seemed confused. Like at first it seemed like Raquel was going to get a penalty, and then they kind of did a replay of it. I'm like, Raquel just kind of fell like
the replay, yeah,
slowly into him, and Darlene kind of fell stupidly, and it felt like they both just kind of didn't know how to skate for a second. Like they just kind of ran into each other. That was about it. And I didn't even see the hand on the puck until they finally called him. Because I was thinking, oh, it was a penalty on Darlene. I'm like looking like he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't hold up Raquel.
No.
He didn't bring Raquel down. Raquel fell on him kind of. And then once they go, oh yeah, he put his hand on the puck. But yeah, I guess. All right,
weirdest thing, because I thought they were going to totally give him a roughing minor or something like that, because this game.
But I was like, no one deserves a penalty on that. I was yelling. What is that?
It was like unfortunate the way that Darlene went into the boards. It was just kind of like, that sucked. I hope he's okay, because you don't want anyone getting hurt like that. But yeah, I was like, well, I'd be pretty upset if Raquel got a penalty there for sure.
Yeah, I'd be upset both ways. I mean, even as a Ducks fan, I'd be like, Dahlin didn't deserve a penalty
No.
on the initial play, the contact at least. It didn't seem like he deserved it. So
Well, let's get to the what the hell moment of the period. This will go to Nick Ritchie. Nick Ritchie
Per usual.
kind of gets hit in the corner a little bit by Vladimir Sobotka. I thought it was a clean hit. I was very surprised Sobotka didn't go down and drop because Ritchie's a big boy. And it didn't look like anything bad. I think the broadcast said something like he got elbowed, or someone on Twitter said he got elbowed. Play gets stopped, and Sobotka's
TV timeout.
coming to the middle of the ice in the slot in his own zone. Olmark's leaving the net to go to the bench. Ritchie comes talking over to him like this, and then just headlocks him, throws him to the ice, and I'm like, what did I miss?
Why?
What did I miss?
Yeah.
And then Olmark just goes to town. Just going to town.
Yeah.
Weird play by Nick Ritchie. Totally unnecessary play by Nick Ritchie. I don't understand what the hell he's doing there, honestly. I don't want to rip on the guy because it's not like he's sat in the box constantly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, why these plays, man?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't feel like it was a run. It was, he kind of made a hit on him. That's going to happen. That's hockey. I didn't see any elbow, but they didn't really show the aftermath. So I don't know if they were talking crap on each other. I have no idea. But, yeah, the way he handled it, where he just came out of it, it's not like they were squared up. Like he was going to the bench for TV timeout and just grabs him by the neck and head and tries to throw him down. It was a D-bag move. I didn't like it at all from my perspective. And if he was on the other team doing it to my play, I'd be like, this guy's a goon. He's just a goof. It was weird. I have no idea why, and we're shorthanded again.
So someone in chat explain to me, or you please, why did Troy Terry serve 2 minutes of that penalty of the 4 minutes?
He got a 4 minutes. So he got 2 minutes for taking him down, and then Allmark got 2 minutes for throwing those punches. Then Ritchie, at the end of it, he gets up from it and then starts throwing a few extra uppercuts after the whole play.
Why is Terry serving the penalty? I was confused by that.
So because there's a double minor, Ritchie can't come out after the 2 minutes since the first two. So he served the other 2 minutes.
Gotcha. I didn't look at the box score. I just remember seeing Terry in there, and I was like, oh, that's odd. I don't remember him doing anything wrong.
Ritchie got a few, like after the initial thing and Allmark got pushed away.
Makes
you
sense.
See Ritchie kind of get up and then just start throwing some uppercuts while the dude was on the ground.
I should come to the show more prepared and look at the box score. Kind of makes sense. So the period was you kind of felt like it was gonna go away, and then the Ducks get another goal, and it comes from Uncle Rico, makes it 4-2, a 2-on-2, a beautiful rush by Comtois and Rico there. And Comtois with a nice little sauce pass to Rico, who got a little ahead of his defender, and probably one that was tough to say, but also I think with as large as Olmark is, probably one he wants to have back because it went off of him and into the net.
Kinda. This one, if you look at it really closely, when Uncle Rico takes the shot, actually hits the defenseman's stick just slightly, because the way he kind of ramps it in, it looked like Henrique was going to have all of it. Like it was going to be a hard, quick shot, and then it ends up hitting it and kind of does that thing where it just kind of wobbles. And when it does that, it goes slower. It has like a dip in it, and it just kind of found the hole. Sure, he probably should have had everything a little bit tighter in there, but he probably didn't read it as well, or was expecting to come a little bit quicker and maybe just a little bit different spot, and didn't pick up the change on it. So it's a very slight thing. Still, he's got to have that, or hopefully you hope he have it, and that's kind of a killer. Now the Ducks have come all the way back from 2-0 and looking down and out in the first, and now they're up 3-2.
And then we wouldn't get out of the period without someone being Nick Ritchie when Nick Ritchie wasn't available to do Nick Ritchie things, and that would be Corbinian Holzer. Goes after Gergensen. He knocked his glove off, so then he was like, oh, you want to fight type thing, and then try to take him out. And I was like, what are we doing here? Why do we want to put the league's best power play back on the ice with fresh ice to start the second period? Like it's the mental lapses from some of the guys on the team. I'm just like, you guys cannot keep doing this. Why?
Well, the way the penalty kill's going, why not? But I mean, at the same time, this game had a lot of that hype. Like, I mean, everyone seemed amped up in that second period. Everyone was, running. There was a long time between whistles. The crowd was really into it. It just seemed like everyone was in it. The chances were there. Ducks were buzzing. So you kind of get that going. everyone kind of got upset a little bit too much. The Richie incident, he got upset for no reason, or not a good enough reason to do the penalty. Holzer gets hit, the stick kind of breaks, and I don't know, he like takes it and like point, the guy who hit him, and Gergensen, he's like, look what you did, and like threw the stick down. I was like, what does he care? And then he doesn't have his stick, but he's got to play defense. I didn't really think it was much of a penalty. Like, Gergensen tries to go around him, and Holzer just does what he's got to do. He doesn't have his stick to poke check, makes a hit. The guy kind of ducks low,
he totally
looks
ducked
worse
low.
than it looked worse than what I thought it was, but everyone was obviously upset. But if Holzer really wanted to get pissed, he could have got, because
he tried to tickle him a little bit. He was like,
he had his right hand free. Like, if you would see the replay, he had it behind him and he was ready to go, but he didn't. He didn't throw bombs when he could have got free shots in. He didn't. So, he's probably ready to fight, looking for a fight. And the animosity was up, but I think it was just everyone was just kind of amped and ready to go. So it was kind of nice. It was kind of at the end of the period, so we can kind of just everyone calm it down, take a breather,
relax. I love when you hear the referees randomly go, knock it off, like they're talking to a bunch of school kids.
Yeah.
Ducks take a 4-2 lead to the third period. Much, much better hockey was played in the second frame for sure. And it's kind of what we've been seeing by this team lately. They've just been able to get out of the gate in the second period and take over games. And it was important for them to do that. And it also, you saw a lot more from the kids. Steele looked really good. Terry looked really good. Jones has looked really good.
That whole line looked good.
They were one of the better lines tonight, if not the best line tonight.
Now, were they that line at the beginning of the game? Because I didn't really notice them as that well, that playing together until the third period. In the third period, all of a sudden it's like, the kids are out there. It's the kid line. And they were running around. All of a sudden they were hitting each other. They were making good plays, getting good chances. They were far more noticeable for me in the third. I just don't know if they were there on the same line the entire time, if there was maybe a little bit of a change-up somewhere through there.
So they played a total of almost 7 minutes, 2 seconds shy of 7 minutes, 5-on-5 together. There was a lot of penalties in this game too, so just to give you kind of a sense, 5-on-5, the top trio together was Henrique, Raquel, and Silverberg, and they played 8 minutes, so only a minute and change over. 8 minutes and 16 seconds. Yeah. So they were together most of the game 5-on-5 when they were available, but with the amount of power plays, the amount of penalty kill, who knows what the 5-on-5 numbers truly are. I'm on natural stat trick for those of you wondering where I was getting that. But, that was... go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that. I mean, that whole period kind of looked good. They combined for over 50 shots in the first two periods. And then I think about halfway through the third, everything kind of shut down, but it didn't feel like it was a shutdown period. I think they had only combined for 5 shots to the first 10 minutes or so of that third period. But it just seemed like there were chances, and it seemed like the Ducks were far more tenacious on the offense. And what they're doing this year compared to last year was like, I saw sometimes Buffalo defensemen would kind of come out with the puck, could probably, like the Ducks would normally have backed off to the neutral zone. But then I see a Comtois, or I see, a Grant or Rowney. Someone just, no, they hound them, force them back behind their own net. Then they hound them there, make them hold it, wait for them to try and set up, hound the puck. And it was just like, it kind of kept in there. And defensemen were still jumping in and holding, the line, or holding, center. And so it's a nice change that the pressure and the tempo stayed that way, even though they were scoring goals and could have gone into shell. They didn't.
Lots of forecheck, and the kids have been a big part of that for sure. I mean, that line is really tenacious after the puck when they don't have the puck, and not enough can be said about that. You saw there was a shift in the third period by the kid line, and they were together. I just scrolled back up and saw they were together from the beginning of the game. That was a starting lineup lines that Eakins and the team had put out. But there was a shift in that third period where I think Troy Terry controlled the entire shift. It felt like behind the net, dishing the puck, getting it back, taking the puck away, retrieving the puck. I mean, those guys are bound to break through. They've got to break through, especially Terry. I felt he had his strongest game of the season tonight, for sure.
Yeah, he was looking pretty good. I didn't particularly. I think he was a little passive on the power play.
Oh, Steele was too. Steele passed that puck in the middle of the slot.
He got an assist.
Well, on that one he did, yes.
Yeah, but I'm always a fan of Max Jones's game. I think it suits well. Eventually those pucks just got to go in a little bit more. But I also enjoy Max Jones because he would go to the front of the net and people would give him shots. He'd shove them back and he'd just laugh at
Oh, he
them.
laughed
He
at
was just
Colin
like,
Miller tonight. He was like, "Are you kidding me, dude? Like,
yeah,
you're
he's
not
like,
gonna fight."
kidding me. Like someone else came in and gave him a bump. He's laughing at him, and it was just that's the kind of Corey Perry-esque guy that we kind of miss. Just a little bit annoying. I like him a lot too. Matthew Tkachuk, I think. I think eventually that goal scoring will kind of follow, but he can be a little bit of a pest. But he's a strong enough guy; he can stick up for himself. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, the kind of the final two plays, there was a big penalty kill there where Raquel and Silverberg had like back-to-back 2-on-1s, and they were gassed for
so
in the second
tired.
one, and they weren't able to convert on. But Middlestat kind of walked around Fowler there. One of the few mistakes we've seen happen to Fowler earlier this season, and he ripped it off the outside of the post. But then the Ducks get an empty netter and wrap it up. Silverberg gets rewarded, wraps it off the glass. I think it hit Ristolainen a bit, caught him a little touch, angled it far enough down, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah.
5-2 Ducks win.
Yeah.
This game was fun as hell to watch after the first period.
Yeah, for sure. Did we talk about the fourth goal?
That was the fifth goal.
Rico's
Yeah,
goal?
we talked about Uncle Rico's second goal.
The second,
Yeah.
okay, we did totally.
And that pretty little pass by Maxime Comtois.
Yeah, and I was really impressed with Fowler's game, his skating, and he's been kind of that bright spot for the Ducks, where we've had a little bit of a Manson and Lindholm maybe struggling a little bit more. Fowler seems more comfortable than I've ever seen him play. I mean, he'll hold, make a spin back, and it's like whenever he makes that little pivot back, all of a sudden he just gains like 4 feet of space. I mean, like he just his skating ability to get away from what looks like something where he's going to have to get rid of it and just keep control. He did that a lot. He jumps into play a lot, makes the right decision. I mean, this is the Cam Fowler I think everyone's been kind of waiting for a really long time. Rings one off the post, almost gets a chance, or in the third, I believe it was. So I thought he had a really strong game. It was kind of surprising that Buffalo pulled their goalie with like 3 minutes.
They were taking the page of the Patrick Waugh's book from when he was a head coach.
Well, close. Yeah, I think Patrick Waugh would like pull him with like 8 minutes left or something.
Or 18. He's crazy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it comes back. It was, fortunate bounce, and one of those things where it's like that never goes in for us normally, and it was just one of those games where Uncle Rico's first goal, and then this one just they happen to go in, and usually we don't get those bounces; they go against us usually. So, all right, so it was good.
Before we get to our post-game notes and questions from listeners and in chat, got to give a shout out to CoolHockey.com. They're our show sponsor. Want to talk about them early rather than at the very, very end of the show. That way people who can't stick around because it gets late maybe don't catch it. But go to CoolHockey.com. They sponsor our Forever Mighty 3-star leaderboard, which I'll have Jay explain in just a second. But use our promo code. They do legit jerseys. They're great. You can get one just like this if you would like. There are no knockoffs, nothing from China. It's 100% great to go to CoolHockey.com and get one there. Use our promo code FM20. But more importantly, you can win one. Jay, how do they win a free jersey from CoolHockey.com?
So this is the second or third year. I think we did it at the end of the very first year that we did this, where they are basically donating a customized jersey. Now, even if you don't necessarily like the Ducks, or if you want to get it as a gift to somebody who's maybe not a Ducks fan, you can do that too. They don't care. You can get any jersey you want, customized with name, number on the back. All you have to do is about 45 minutes before every Ducks game, we send out 3 questions. And all you got to do is just try and guess right. For everyone you guess right, you get a point. At the end of the month, whoever has the most points wins. And like Pat said, these are legit jerseys. We've met a few of our listeners at some of our watch parties, and they bring the jerseys that they won. So Derek Lockwood, I believe, won one from us. And so we got to see it firsthand. They are authentic. They are the best, the greatest quality. So even if you don't win one, you can still obviously go on there, use our promo code, get 20% off, and that's a fun way if you can win it. So that's essentially 9 free jerseys they're just giving our listeners. So you can't say enough good things about a company that does that and does such quality work.
No, absolutely. So yeah, we tweet out the questions 45 minutes before the start of the game, and you just compete with all the rest of the listeners who put in all of their answers. And like Jay said, you can win a legit jersey at the end of every month. So make sure you tune into our Twitter account to follow that there. All right, man, let's get into post-game notes. I know I've been asking you every time we get on the show, your favorite player from the game and your least favorite player from the game. Who impressed you? Who did not impress you? And that's a tough one to grab tonight, considering the type of fun game we had. And you better not say Nick Ritchie is your least favorite player tonight.
Can't we just like default to him? Yeah, I would. I was very. I mean, how are you not going to thank Rico for getting 2 goals? But just in how he was playing and how he has played, I touched on a little bit. I loved Cam Fowler's game. I thought there was a lot of plays where it could have been a turnover. He had to give it away, and he held on to it. He jumped in at the right times. Very rarely got caught out of position. So I'm very big when defensemen can do an offensive good side and a defensive good side. So I felt that, in my opinion, just his game was the best. If I can't pick Nick Ritchie, I would say that I hate to really, I would kind of say Holzer. Holzer was, missing a lot of plays. He had, the one power play goal, kind of lost it in his feet, just a little slow. And that's a little tough for everybody to do. At least Manson's game got a little bit better as the game wore on. It seemed like Holzer had a low level and kind of just maintained that low level throughout the game.
You picked my worst player. I was going to say Corbinian Holzer as well. I really was. I actually was very impressed, though, with Troy Terry tonight. I know I kind of gave it away a little bit earlier when I talked about him. Or Sam Steele. I was fighting between the two. I know Steele got the sweet apple on the beautiful pass to Getzlaf for the goal and the power play to get our first frickin' power play goal of the season. Only took 7 games. But, I really like Troy Terry's game tonight. All the haters on these kids, I just don't get it. It's so early. And as excited as we've even talked about it, as excited as we were after the Sharks game last weekend, we're kind of like we get it. We know it's super early. We know it's not going to last forever. But yeah, I was very happy with Troy Terry's game, and Holzer, just a tough one, man. Just had a tough one tonight.
What are you going to do? He's supposed to be, a 6 or 7 defenseman, so, you just hope he doesn't make enough mistakes that it ends up costing you too much. But he had quite a few mistakes on the game where, outside of the first period, most Ducks looked a lot better moving forward. He just kind of kept what he did in the first period and just kind of kept moving along with it. It's kind of amazing, though, if you think about it, that we haven't really had to say John Gibson's been the best player. John Gibson. Although he's been a great player in every game, he hasn't necessarily been the best player, the most standout-ish player. And I don't know if that's just us being used to him being awesome.
I think part of it is maybe because, dude, he had to make some decent saves tonight for sure. Yeah. And he had a ton in Boston, and the Ducks didn't come away with a win there.
Yeah, I mean, so what is this? So he's played 6 games, and 5 of them have been 2 or less goals. I mean, dude's a stud. I mean, one game against basically one player and bad defense in front of him. So other than that, the dude's been lights out. But it's nice to, hey, we got other people to actually look at that are impressive. We want to talk about them for a little bit.
Yeah, we got to make a positive of all this. So I got a couple questions for you before we get to the questions. A couple of my questions before we get to the other questions, what I mean by that. So Getzlaf playing lower in the zone of the power play, do you think that's going to stick? Because I think it should. Do you think that's the answer here?
I want it to. I don't really. He's kind of a floater. I mean, he can go up high, he can go down low, and I think there'll be some rotation that happens in any given power play. I mean, the initial play in that zone was him on the right side trying to set up Steele on the left side, and then eventually he swung back around. I like him on that half board. The Ducks really don't have a guy in that spot that's going to be an overpowering slap shot guy. So to have him there and be able to give a lot of misdirection and also be able to have the vision of setting people up, even for deflections or other passes, he can kind of look a lot of people off. So I like him there, but he is on the second line. It's not even the top line. But I would think that's a more natural place for him, given his talents.
I mean, why not put another center on the half wall, too? Maybe you slide Henrique there, and you slot Getzlaf there, right? You keep them. Doesn't matter which side. I feel like just having a guy down low, being able to feed one-timers like that is more useful than the Randy Carlyle system where you have, I mean, back in those days, it always felt like it was the point shot the Ducks tried to get through and get a rebound and then try to toss the rebound left or right to get the goalie to move or stuff at home. It was always the point. The point was the main focal of the power play. And looking at the way they're trying to set this up, at least tonight, having a guy down low trying to get it to open passing options, I feel like is the newer way of the NHL with so much shot blocking from the point anyway. I feel like this is probably going to be, if they stick with it, more successful than what they've attempted. And look at the Buffalo power play. I mean, they feed it off the half wall. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, for Buffalo, they were saying it. It goes through their front three forwards. Those are the guys getting the most power play points in the entire NHL. I think they were saying 3 out of the top 5 are right there on the Buffalo power play. But yeah, I think that's more of the Ducks, way they should operate, because they don't have an overpowering shot on the back end. They can't really set up a power play that's really effective like Washington, where you have that one-timer threat. The Ducks just don't really have that. But you can set up a guy who can set up a lot of passes, and if you start rotating your defense and kind of moving them in, trying to find lanes, Getzlaf's the guy who can really kind of find those openings and hit people who are moving.
Well, yeah, and you just mentioned Washington. I mean, Ovi, Oshie, and Kuzi. I mean, jeez. If you pick your poison. Yeah. The one-timer, the guy in the slot who can roof it and dangle you, and then Kuzi who can pick corners. I mean,
and then don't forget Carlson back at the point.
John
you could decoy Oshie in the middle, and then everyone starts focusing on him. Oh yeah, put it right behind him, and there's Carlson who can blast it home. So
yeah, it takes talent for sure, but I feel like this is a step in the right direction for the Ducks power play, and this is early in the system, guys. We're talking 7 games in. We're going to see probably a little bit of different things happen every night for the next couple of weeks, but this worked tonight, and it finally got him over the hill. So hopefully that's something we seek to continue. And then I was going to ask you, how do you feel about, or what do you think is going to happen here? And this is kind of a tough one because we're so early, but how do you feel like the load's going to be split between John Gibson and Ryan Miller this season? Because I'm kind of curious with this whole new health and wellness that's been brought into the Ducks organization, if they're really going to be paying close attention to Gibby down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, last season, it's kind of tough. I mean, Gibby's not, I still hear this stupid-ass narrative that, he's very injury-prone, or he gets injured. I would say he's injury-prone if he is making routine saves and pulls something. If that's happening, and it's happening consistently, which did happen in his early career, then I would say he's injury-prone. Now, if he's kind of injured, almost every goalie gets injured at some point in the season, has to take time off. Last year, Gibby was just exhausted. He's facing relentless shots, and where goalies get tired and worn out and then start getting more injuries is when it's sequences that never seem to stop. Goalies down, up, left, right, down, up. So stretch, extreme stretch.
It was the constant zone pressure. Ducks never able to exit the zone. He has to drop and get up, drop and get up.
That's where goalies get absolutely worn down and exhausted. Do that over the course of 82 games, and he plays a significant amount of games, then yeah, you're going to start getting injuries. So if they reduce that workload, I think Gibby can play the same amount of games he was going to play last year and still be good. He's still young. It's not like his body's wearing down or anything. So as long as the games are manageable, he can still play a significant amount of games. And if he starts getting fatigued or the Ducks start being a little bit more porous on defense, Ryan Miller can step into a whole bunch more games. He doesn't seem any more out of shape or out of focus than he was last year. So it's a great tandem. Rely on it because you don't have it for all that long, and might as well try and rest Gibby. But going into every game, you want the best opportunity to win, and Gibson does give you that. Even though Ryan Miller's great, Gibby gives you that best chance to win.
100%. So now is the time that we're going to ask for questions in chat. If you have any questions you want to talk about on the show, let us know. We have some on Twitter, which we can get to. Al Chop 40 in chat says, who do we lose in the expansion draft? Seattle expansion draft. Who did the Ducks lose?
That really kind of
Ricky says Nick Ritchie.
He'll definitely be exposed, in my opinion. I'm not even sure if he's signed through that or if he's a free agent after that. I can't remember exactly what his length is. Signed a 2 or 3 year deal. I can't remember. That'll be interesting to see. It might be a goalie. It just depends what Ryan Miller is going to continue to do, if he's going to continue to play. But I doubt he's still around once that kind of happens. So I don't know. It kind of just depends how the next few seasons go and who's, it's going to probably be a younger player. We're going to probably lock up the ones that we want to keep. We're not going to want to expose too many centers, but we might have to. It depends what we do with Getzlaf as well. So That's a real tough one.
I think it's going to be Adam Henrique. To be honest with you, he's got a lot of money on the cap. He's signed for long term ish. I think he's 5 years. So if Sam Steele can come through here and become a solidified center, and the Ducks are able to pick up maybe somebody else and figure that out, then Henrique becomes expendable.
Yeah, Henrique would be one. I'd also think maybe somewhere on defense because we have Gooley in there, Larson's in there, you got Fowler, you got Lindholm, you got Manson. So I think maybe one of those guys kind of gets exposed, and there's a chance that one of them gets kind of picked off somewhere in there. Kind of depends how Larson, moves forward. Depends who else we get. If we end up signing another defenseman, and then that leaves us with 4, we're definitely going to leave one of those guys open. So it's a little tough.
Yeah, that's a tough question to ask this far out, but that's something I don't want to think about now because it's scary to me. I don't want to lose any good players.
Why ruin a good time? We're having such a good time.
No, it's a good question though, because it's kind of like, who would we expose?
That's why everything moving forward, Bob Murray's got to really think about what he's doing and how he's signing players and things like that.
And of course, Shane asks, have you guys seen any Corey Perry media? He looks kind of lonely in Dallas.
I saw him practicing today, and I guess they were saying he's doing Corey Perry things. Like, it was a quick clip.
He was like shoving in front of the net.
Yeah, shoving in front of the net. So, yeah, I think, didn't he play tonight? I think tonight
it was his first game, I believe, yep.
Yeah, I think they lost in overtime to Colorado. So, Dallas is struggling, man. They need help. They've been losing to a lot of teams. I'm not even sure. They might have won one game.
Is my bet with Eddie, New Jersey is drowning right now. It's not looking pretty for me.
Yeah, they're goaltending.
Bye-bye, Corey Schneider.
That defense, too. Yeah, Corey Schneider, but even then, after that, they got 2 other backups, and neither one of them's been doing anything. Blackwood, I believe. Yeah, I picked him up in fantasy just because, oh, crap, I only have Lundqvist. So I was like, crap, I'll get somebody, and that was the one. I'm like, all right, well, Schneider might falter, so maybe Blackwood will help it. I think for the season, he's minus 0.2 fantasy. So, I think I just dropped him too. So
Jan Richter on Twitter says, what do you think about Sam Steele's game? Like the offense he provides, and how about Steele and Getz on the same power play? Seems interesting.
Man, it worked today. So they'd obviously be the second line as far as that power play goes. I like his game. I mean, we lack center depth, but for the most part, all we need him to be right now is kind of that third. It's weird. You can't really call them third line because they all play about the same amount of minutes. Mm-hmm. So we just need a good third center, whether he plays, technically first line or second or third. I'd rather have Getzlaff. I like Getzlaff, Henrique's, doing Henrique things, and I think Sam Steele, he'll get his chances. I think once everyone gets a little bit more confidence, then once the kids start getting some goals, I like that kid line. So I'd rather him stay with Terry and Jones and give them a feel for it. Because even back when we won the Cup, that was, Penner, Getzlaff, and Perry. That kid line was, dynamic for us. So I think this line has a potential somewhat similar to that. Not as high-end talent like that, but if they start clicking, watch out. So I like his game right now. It's kind of where you'd expect him to be, and technically his second year as the Ducks.
Yep.
Or on the Ducks. So, let him progress and see where it goes. But so far, so good. He's not a detriment.
That's what I was going to say. So far, so good. End of the year, pretty strong, for a rookie. So I think he's got a lot to add to his game for sure. And tonight was a good game for him, like you said. We'll see if this continues. Let's go to another question on Twitter. It's Connor. He says, I have a burning question. How much money would we all have to pull together to shoot Nick Ritchie into the sun? Oh, boy. I don't hate Nick Ritchie. I don't. He makes some questionable decisions on the ice. I feel like he's a kid that maybe belonged in the era prior to this one. Big, rough, in your face, punch you, sucker punch you, cross-check you, that kind of stuff. And they just kind of moved away from it. But he's not a total dinosaur. Like, he has hands in front of the net. He can make plays. So he's like that in-between guy. He's a bottom six guy. I'm not really upset about it.
Yeah, like you said, he was born in the wrong era. He was at the tail end of where that style was accepted, valued, and had a place. Now it's a little tough. he has a place on the team, but just like you said, in the bottom six role. I don't like the fact that if we shoot him into the sun and we lose him for nothing, then we don't really have a nasty forward. I mean, Delarose is there, but
Delorier, you're terrible with names.
Delarose. Yeah, I'm sorry. But with him gone, I mean, there's just not a lot of other mean guys. So I'd hate to not have him. It's just everyone, whittle down your expectations. He was drafted in the first round. He's never going to be what you would expect the first round to be, and that's just kind of unfortunate in the wrong time because he does have some skill, but he's at least getting more of a chance this year, and we're going to see him a little bit more, probably taking dumb penalties as he does because he's going to get more time, just like everybody else is kind of getting an even amount of time.
Jay Northcott, 22, in our chat, he asked, at what point, if the kids don't score, does it become a real concern? 15 games, 20 games, and it's already a quarter of the season at that point. When do you start getting concerned? I don't think we're going to have to be concerned about it. I think they're eventually going to break through here.
Yeah, I'm hoping the same thing. Optimism is going to shine through
Jones
me right
broke
now.
Through tonight, damn it, okay?
Yeah, I know. We're going to count it, damn it. I think it kind of comes down to how are the Ducks doing. If the Ducks are struggling to score goals overall as a team, and their record starts to kind of falter because of it. But I mean, we were 5-2. I mean, that's a good start.
Yeah, it's a really good start.
A team that was told, you guys are going to be anything. You guys are going to be entertaining to watch. At least they're getting their chances. As long as they're getting goal-scoring chances, then it's good. If they're not getting sniffs at anything and they're barely noticeable or they're a detriment, they're bad on defense, if that starts happening, I start getting concerned because if you're going to be bad on defense, you better be really good on offense. Right now, they're holding their own. They're getting chances. And eventually they'll probably start going in. I feel like it'll be kind of a thing where it goes in bunches. So it's tough. It's not easy to score in this league. The whole team has struggled for the most part to find goals, tonight being an exception. But, they'll get there. It's just I'm not too worried unless the Ducks are struggling to win.
They all knew it was Paul Kariya's birthday. They made sure they potted 5 goals on the night tonight for sure. More of a comment here from Tabernac on Twitter. It says, just a comment, even says it. Love that all the players seemed engaged on the play. Rowney, Grant looked great. Silverberg, Rico, Rack's line looks potent. Just lots of hustle and energy. The kids and Gibby, of course. I think he posted that in probably the second period because I don't think anyone's going to say that in the first period. So the last 40 minutes, 100% agree with you, sir. 100% on board with that one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just erase that first period from memory, and we're good.
All right, let's get over to Instagram. Let's see what we got here.
What's called the IG.
There you go. Yeah, I am dating myself. This comes from Josep. He said, I love watching the boys get tough as much as the next guy, but do you think they should clean it up a little bit more? We can't possibly keep winning and giving up all these penalties. 100% true. You can't be taking 7 or 8 penalties a night. I cannot believe the Ducks got away with as much as they got away with on the penalty kills they did against the league's best power play, for real. That was too much. You got to stop this.
Yeah, the penalty kill's been really good for the Ducks, and I think towards the end they were reading plays a lot better, picking it off a lot more. But yeah, I mean at the same time there was a deflection that happened to hit Gibby. I mean that deflection goes in, it's a different game. And everything gets a little bit more dicey. This game had a different feel than most games in the fact that there was a lot more energy. We talked about it a little bit. I think that they were just kind of amped up. They got to get that emotion in check a little bit more. And quite honestly, that emotion in check needed to be Holzer and it needed to be Ritchie. They can't go running around wild like that and giving up those chances. Other than that, I mean, one penalty was, Larson threw it over the net. Another one was just kind of a hook. And, I just don't like the stupid penalties. And, and the Ritchie qualifies for that one. So, you're going to play with fire for a little bit. Right now it's not hurting them. The penalty kill looks a lot better this year than it did last year. So, right now it's all right, but I don't think you'll see what we saw that one throughout the season. If you do, you're going to start seeing more of that line shuffling going around or guys out of the lineup into the lineup.
So there's a little argument going on in chat. Denver Duck posed the question, do you think we lost the Sprong-Pedersen trade or is it still too early to tell?
We haven't done anything with Sprong.
I'm not really worried about it, honestly. I don't think Pettersson's going to all of a sudden blow up and be a top 4 defenseman. He's a bottom pairing defender anyway. He's playing NHL minutes in Pittsburgh, but that team's decimated. They're an AHL team without Sidney Crosby at this point. And the Ducks, Daniel Sprong, I think we're going to see him this season still. I don't think he's going to be down in San Diego forever. I'm not really worried about it. He's going to get a chance to show here, but he's just got to light up the AHL a bit first.
Yeah, and Akins was saying that, I can't remember exactly when he said it, but he was saying that we like his offensive game. There's nothing wrong with that. We've seen some of the videos that he's done. He's got the offensive talent. He goes, but there's plays that happen within a game where he needs to be aware of what his defensive responsibility is and put that same hustle on the offensive side, on the defensive side, and we just haven't seen it yet. And he goes, he's still young. He's still got to learn that. But it's just, he's like say, it's little things that we see that not everybody else will see. And once he gets that and understands it, and sometimes it just takes a little bit longer for players for that to happen. And if he gets it, then we'll be seeing him. But he's been given the opportunity. He knows what he's got to do. It's just if he doesn't do it, then what are you going to do? He didn't do it. But at the same time, Pettersson, might be our 5-6 somewhere in there, but he's not cracking our top 4. So it was kind of a gamble to see what Sprong could do, and I think it's somewhat of a wash. But Pettersson's, he's doing fine over in Pittsburgh, but he's not lighting it up. He wouldn't light it up here either.
No. So the last question comes before we wrap the show. Daniel Lowry says, is elite first-line center Derek Grant the new Ryan Kessler in regards to more shutdown defensive centers? I would say no. I think he's just he's the fourth-line guy who's going to trash and bang, create energy. He gets some chances. He had some chances tonight. He had some chances last game, not able to bury him. So he's going to get his time. But he's definitely not the defensive stalwart that Ryan Kessler was in his prime. You'd have to say no.
Yeah, you can't compare the two. Kessler could score.
That'd be amazing
Kessler
if he
would
could.
get on your skin. Kessler could hit. Kessler could win face-offs. All that stuff. Grant's good. He scores more with the Ducks than he has with any other team, combined anywhere else. He was outstanding in the face-offs. They kept talking about how well he was doing. It seemed like every time he went and took a face-off, he kept winning it. So he was outstanding. That really helps when you need a face-off win and Getzlaf's tired. So you need that. But he's somewhat of an isolated specialist in that regard. He can bring some energy a little bit. It's on the fourth line, but they're not going to tax him with shutting down a top line. They didn't put him out there for the top line guys. And Kessler, you could do that. But even that style is kind of gone away. There is no more shutdown line on the Ducks. And very few teams have guys that are just shutting down. Even Bergeron is playing on the top offensive line. So, and he's considered, a shutdown guy. But, you just got to be smart defensively and try and produce offensively.
All right, man, let's wrap the show. That's all she wrote for the night. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. If you would like to follow us, go check us out on Twitter, ForeverMightyFM. You can catch most of our updates, if not all of them, there. Also, our website, ForeverMighty.com. And stay tuned. We will be back. I think it's just me by myself, most likely on Friday. I think I'm going to be able to work out. If we have a show, it'll be me solo. So we'll definitely need the help of all of you in chat as you guys showed up in mass tonight. Love seeing that. Thank you guys for the support. Eddie will be back on the pod more than every once in a while. He's got a new job, so you'll see him more.
Yeah, should be on Sunday, I believe.
I think he's going to be doing the show on Sunday. I think we're who do they play on Sunday? Do you remember? It's
let's see, Friday's
Calgary Sunday. Friday's Carolina. Yep. So that's it for us, guys. Have a great night.
Bye, guys.